Welcome back, everyone, to LCS Challengers. And what a surprise beatdown. AoE take game number 1 from TLC. Seems the growing pains haven't quite stopped just yet.
No, I mean, I think it's props to AoE as well, because, I mean, I wasn't really... I had my questions about the draft, as I was talking about in Champ Select, but it really did end up working out for them. And I think really the secret ended up being that Maokai pick for Breezy. Because the nice thing about Rakan as a champion, even though you are squishy, you can go in and out. But Maokai locks you down, and it makes it easier for them to take him down out of the picture and make it so that these fights end before they start.
And as we start preparing for this next game, I do want to ask you, what do you think is going to be the shakeup? Because one of the things we did see get through was the Karma. Of course, AoE can't pick that again. I'm not sure if we have side selection satisfied just yet. No, it's TL going to be on blue side. So this does open up TL a position where they can try and take that for themselves.
Maybe. It depends on whether or not AoE let that one through. Because I think for the most part, it's been pretty consistently banned away on red side, and for good reason. You know, that was just... This is not fair. Also, this Malignance item. We really got to talk about this at some point. But until then, I don't think that Champion's getting through tonight. Maybe not for a little while yet. I hope you guys enjoyed your first look at mid Karma, because I should never be through.
It felt like two areas of attack that were coming through. It wasn't just the mid Karma, but Zamudo on that Udyr. That was nasty, man. That was very, very nasty. Once you get the Haunted Guy, once you finish off that Leandries, the burn that you were getting. There were some fights where Zamudo, all he would do was plant that little Phoenix circle into like 3 of them, and it would force the rest of TLC to back up because they had to respect the damage that Zamudo was bringing.
Yeah, it is so much and so hard to deal with. So now, I mean, that's another thing that won't be available for the side of AoE going into this next game. So you got to imagine for TLC, it's back to the drawing board to kind of think to themselves what they need to be doing going into this next one, because they are on blue side. Even though I don't think the Karma is going to get through, I mean, there are plenty of other really strong options that they can go for themselves. I mean, Varus, they hadn't played that one yet. That's something we commonly see picked really early on. We haven't seen Nocturne Nico, Nocturne Ori. There's a lot of really strong champions combinations that really haven't been touched on just yet. Even TL, who played the Ivern yesterday, which I really liked from them, and I kind of expected in Game 1, have that option for Game 2.
Let's pull up the bans that are going to be in this game number 2. Again, Fearless Draft, so that means that once you play a champion, you cannot pick it for the rest of the series specific to your team. So a lot of that power that came out from the champions we were talking about before, the Udyr, the Karma, not going to be allowed through. That also means that Talia will not go through, and Roamer has been very good on champions that, well, can kind of roam out. Tristana's another one that comes to mind when you see Roamer just take the mid wave. It's all about crashing into the bottom, crashing into the top, and making a huge impact there. So there are still plenty of tools left on the table for a team like TLC. My worries comes towards AoE now that you've shown one hand already.
Right, surely they have others. So you got to imagine, especially with knowing pretty well in advance that we will be doing Fearless, it has been pretty cool to see the different drafts and the big change-ups that happen pretty much every game once teams go through a specific draft. So now, TL, you mentioned Roamer, and I wanted to bring up that a reminder that Azir was banned away from him in that last game. I think he performed pretty well on the pick. That could be another thing we see TLC try to prioritize for their B1.
Could be a good one for him. Any other picks that you could see going through? I had mentioned earlier Tristana is one I would love to see Roamer on. Would you like?
I don't know. I have like mixed feelings about Tristana currently. I think it's pretty niche, so I'm not too sold on that one yet. But again, like I mentioned earlier, Varus is still up and available. Neither team has picked Callista. If that one makes it through the first rotation bans, things like that. But mostly my eyes are on bot lane to see what the teams are looking to prioritize.
All right, the draft is ready, so it's time to head into game number 2, TLC versus AoE. Now, heading into this match, I do want to point out that Viego was one of those big champions for Rosethorn when he did have that short run back on CLG. As of lately, he's fallen back to a lot of engaged champions, such as the Maokai and Sejuani. But it's definitely one of his tried and true pocket picks, having that Viego. Not going to be able to play it for this game.
Yeah, and there you go. We just first banned the card, but make it perfectly clear. You aren't going to get to play that one. So it means that that first pick is going to have to be something else. Again, Azir is something I kind of have my eyes on for Roamer. Maybe you get Keel, something like Xin Zhao, just because both teams could be contesting that pick as well. There's definitely a lot of options to go in because we're only in game 2 of the series.
Taking away the Varus, taking away the Rumble, bot lane focus coming out of AoE, a lot of those powerful bot lane picks. They want to see it through. Wixie and Breezy, they've been another bot lane that I was excited about coming into the season. Expectations haven't been met just yet. See if they can turn that around in this game, because already having a victory against TLC got to give you some sort of boost. What I'm seeing right now is that Poppy ban away. Interesting thing to see as yeah, every time that's banned, that usually signals that Callista is going to be in the mind of TLC.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty fun for Spawn. It's a really strong pick. I think, I guess, first of all, they want to just prioritize themselves something strong for Roamer. And I guess the Orianna actually works out pretty well, too, because if the response ends up being the Azir for Onat, it's favorable for Orianna. And, I mean, I would like the Callista takeaway as well. And just the fact is, I mean, Poppy's out of the game no matter what, so Wixie has a pretty easy chance to be like, oh, I don't mind if I do.
Sorry, I'm having a bit of a day right now, beat down. I just took a drink of my water and it just spilled on me in the back half. Yeah. If you don't know, a little bit earlier before we actually went live, I accidentally spilled coffee on me, so I'm just having it, man. I'm just having it.
I mean, at least it's just water. Like, it'll dry,
at least it's water this time, yeah.
Yeah, it was coffee. I mean, that would be awful. But you're good now.
All right, with the Callista lock in, AoE are gonna fill out the R2. Potentially this Cassante, and yeah, that will be going to Zamudo over on that top side. For me, I feel a little bit mixed on that. I don't think it has the same conditions that we were having with like the Udyr, which I think played really well to the gameplay, the style that Zamudo likes to play. I don't think Cassante is as much in that category for Zamudo.
Yeah, but at the same time, Cassante is too good to not play, especially if you're just looking to play anything topside and you're looking to save your counters for maybe jungle, which again, we've been seeing a lot of that, and a lot of top priority in first rotation, which is definitely a little abnormal. So with that in mind, I don't think it's that weird, even though we're used to seeing really spicy picks from Zamudo, and it just means my eyes are on what the 4 and 5 are going to be once we see everything shake out.
Well, Jenkins would be very happy to take this one, so Udyr locked in by TLC. Showing their hands, at least with the carries they want to take to the Rift right now. Both the Aphelios as well as the Orianna do really well once we're able to get towards some late game scaling, have presence in those team fights. Waiting for that last pick to come out of AoE, it is Victor locked in for the O Nation.
Wow, so that is definitely an Onat special. He definitely likes playing those kinds of slow scale mage champions. I think this one will be a little tough when you're facing down the barrel of an Udyr, but if you get rid of something like the Xin Zhao as well, the Nocturne, things that can really take advantage of your low mobility, it's probably alright. But also, Bundle's looking crazy right now. Just saying. Maybe AoE should ban it.
They've already done one jungle ban. Let's see, it would be in the wheelhouse of kill, so... Take it away. No, Renata will be the first ban. That does take away the hyper-aggressive duo. Alyssa Renata was something that... The moment Renata came out, that was a duo that a lot of people just started locking in bot lane because
they're like, wait a minute,
that much
it's amazing.
aggression. Yeah.
Yeah. So now when we see the... until we see the last ban come through from AoE, I mean, overall, already, we see a lot of scaling, a lot of late game potential here from TLC's composition. And of course, you have the Udyr, which we've already seen from Zamudo and many other players, that you have a pretty good matchup into the Cassante as well. I think at this point, it's just going to be about getting the best bot matchup you can. I'm kind of guessing AoE are going to go for that last pick support. I think even banning the Nautilus is there just to make sure that they can get pretty much the safest they can. The safest matchup they can.
Heavily focused into that support position. Both Renata and Blitzcrank will be the bans for TLC. So really kind of focusing around what works well with this Callista and what really embellishes the aggression that you want to put for Wixie and Breezy. So we'll see what they go with next. Straight up to the Renata, so definitely going to have a pretty spicy engage thus far for AoE.
And it's nice because you kind of leave things up in the air. I think Rel Jungle has definitely found a lot more success than Rel Support, but it's not impossible. You do leave that question up in the air to TLC and the coaching staff there, see what they're going to build up for themselves. And I mean, the Milio would be pretty solid, and this team clearly wants to jump into you. So being able to have that disengage, being able to have the cleanse and healing from Breath of Life, I think would be very valuable.
Yeah, and smart to ban out the Blitzcrank before going for this Milio pick, because Milio does suffer from a lot of hook champions if Milio is caught out. So knowing the strengths of what you want to take is going to be TLC. Are they going to bring more support to it? Yes, they are. The Ivern gets locked in for Keel.
Wow, and already I'm really worried about if things go even mid to late. I think TLC's comp is very beefy. It's going to be pretty hard to actually get through, what with the shielding, the healing coming through from this Milio and the Ivern. So it is going to end up being Rel Jungle, unsurprisingly, and it's going to be that Senna last pick. So Senna, Kalista, you can get pretty aggressive in this lane, and you do add yourself that element of scaling into the later parts of the game, but I think against TLC's comp, you kind of want to go into them, but you don't have that much engage. You're leaning really heavily on Rosethorn, and if the engage isn't crisp, perfect, excellent, TLC will have a pretty good chance to outlast you.
One of my biggest worries for AoE is they don't have much instant damage, so to say. Like, the best you really get is Onat's laser and all that. Yeah. But the fact that it's sustained damage, it plays so much so much better to TLC and the champions that they've picked. I talked about it last game about what second rotation, third rotation shields mean, but now you have it on an Ivern. Now you have it on an Orianna. The Milio on top of it to provide the healing. The longer these fights go, the more I really do favor TLC.
Which is why I'm really putting a lot of emphasis on how important this early game is going to be for AoE. We talk about how Rosethorn is known for his early game pathing, the plans, and the kind of success he's able to generate early on. Well, he's going to need to do that a lot in this game. Because I see Ivern Milio. I think this comp is hard to engage into. I think this comp has players that are hard to kill because of the healing and shielding. And yeah, those are my concerns.
A lot of concerns. Even the short range of Kalista. You're going to have Daisy in your face. That's a knockup right there. Daisy will be all over the place. Daisy is Keel's best friend. Not friend of Wixie. Much pain.
Unfortunately, Wixie, this game is not a friend of the forest. And Zamudo is not a friend of his own topside jungle. I mean, I'm going to be real here. The amount of times I've seen this happen in this matchup, no matter who's playing it, is kind of insane. At what point are we going to realize that Udyr is going to cheese you? So, like, you know, maybe I don't have to lose half my health at level 1. Has anyone ever asked themselves this?
It takes me back to the old Bush Garen. Except it's a Bush Udyr now, and
God,
it's a lane Udyr. Now it's just a mean Udyr. Jenkins. Give him some breathing room.
No. He deserves this. After what he went through last game, he's earned this. So you know what, Eric? Let him have it, Eric. I say let him have it. The real question.
Fair point.
The real question is what Keel's going to be able to take away in this early game. You guys may have noticed he's walking away with a red buff, but his red buff is still up. It's because he was able to very easily steal it away from Rosethorn. And that's the thing that's so frustrating playing against this champion. If he has any bit of prio, it's really easy for him to take away camps when he has that smite up. Just yoink him right in front of your face.
When this champion came out, oh god, because I mostly played jungle, and not really understanding how this champion would work initially was a good lesson in just how many camps I'm going to be missing all of a sudden. That is how Ivern do. Goes all over this map. All you have to do is use the passive and press smite, and you instantly steal away a camp. It is that easy, and it can be that frustrating.
Which is why my eyes are on Rosethorn again. He lost out a red buff, which could be worse. Now that he's level 3, does have some opportunities. I like this that he's starting dismounted, because it's just point and click. When you go for the remount W, all he needs to do is flash onto Roamer, and it's basically guaranteed.
Roamer sees it coming. Movement speed boost, able to get the stun. Locking down onto Roamer. It's first blood for Onat.
Really nicely done there. Really patient from Rosethorn. He still has camps up, but just decides he needs to get the ball rolling for his team. And it's a big deal for Victor, too, to get those passive stacks going. Once you get the upgraded E, you will have a very easy time testing mid priority. So early kills like that, you'll love to see it.
See the way Rosethorn's playing right now. He did get that red buff stolen from him, so he's just going to retreat back into his own jungle, feeling a little bummed out about that, but happy he was able to get a kill over in the mid lane onto Roamer. Onat so far has been, at least to me, one of the bigger personalities in this space beatdown. I'm pretty sure you watched the player interviews as well, where he was talking about like Quad and Roamer, and he's like, I want to beat them so bad. Bad.
I love that attitude, and I think Onat's been a pretty fun player to watch. I think he's definitely had some high moments when I first saw him pop up in the promotion tournament. And I kind of want to see him become more consistent in that regards, because when he has those carry performances, he's really fun to watch.
And we'll get to cheer about the O Nation. Unfortunately, Nation's not looking too good right now. There might be some war declared. Over the wall, here comes Rosethorn. He's trying to help out with Onat's situation. Those autos really do add up from an Orianna. You get that passive magic damage. It's not enough to kill Onat. He will survive.
And Onat doesn't have to flash either, which it's got to feel really good, all things considered. And still, though, my eyes are on AoE esports and what they're able to accomplish. Early minutes. Rosethorn, really good to get that kill. Oh, hold on a second.
Over the wall comes kill, and this is going to set up Roamer quite well. But no, Rosethorn was lying in wait, and kill falls.
That's a tragedy and a half. I mean, the play was there. Roamer just didn't go for it. Even Kimdown was in the lane. And I don't know if someone called it off. There's a miscommunication. But either way, they were not on the same page. And that one's got to feel super bad. You just end up getting another takedown over to Onat. Again, he's just that much faster. It means he gets those Victor upgrades that much faster.
So for Rosethorn, even though the early game plan didn't go exactly as expected with Kill invading you, he's made the most of it. Back and forth, he's shown up to the mid lane. Both of the times he was successful. So Onat and Rosethorn, they're having a decent early game so far. It's definitely a good start for AoE.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that they want to be Drake stacking this game is important for them, and they're able to get the first one at around 6 minutes. And this is perfect. Heel knows this. That's why he's trading for the Grubs top side, and maybe is going to be able to take away those respawn Krugs. Like, overall, you feel pretty good about this. Rosethorn also looks like he maybe wants another gank. At the very least, just to help his mid laner escort the wave.
Rosethorn's just setting up a tent in the mid lane. Roamer's got to watch out. Fortunately for Roamer, Flash still available. If that Flash is down, that's where Rosethorn is just perma there now. It's no longer a tent, it is a hotel. He's taking up residence there, and you're going to have a bad time. You're evicted. Goodbye. So Roamer definitely got to be careful about his use of summoner spells and not getting himself in an awkward position. Yeah,
but at least Keel taking this opportunity to take away some of these jungle camps. He took away the Krugs. He took away the Raptors just now. He basically spent a good minute in Rosethorn's jungle. And at the very least, that means he's going to be able to keep up in gold, maybe even surpass Rosethorn if he keeps up this pace.
Keep in mind, Kill has the Ignite, opting for that, which means the pressure he applies can be that much more lethal when he's able to find some of these ganks. Fortunately for AoE right now, there's a lot of vision over on that topside river, so they should be able to spot out where Kill's going to be positioning to. Not much in terms of camps for Kill, so we should see him headed bot side.
Right now, AoE have this 500 gold lead going for them. It has been off the back of the plays that Rosethorn made and that oopsie mid lane by Keel. And this is all well and good. But I really got to stress that you need more. We need just a little bit more from this team in the early game. Onat, that's what I like to see.
I definitely love that from Onat, trying to get the solo onto Roamer, but here comes the shockwave. No, Onat, no! He'll be able to get away. He flashes out, but a little bit of hubris right there. Might have wanted it too bad. Now Keel wants this gank over in the bottom lane. Wixie and Breezy, the head over to safer territories. This Keel's only going to help and shove in the wave.
And it's going to give Rosethorn an opportunity to go ahead and get a Raptor steal back. Question is he going to get caught? Because Keel is beelining it.
Rosethorn versus Keel. Nope. Rosethorn's chill.
I like it. Even Keel gave up. He just immediately threw the Q of the red buff. Like, yeah, he's out of here. I'm not even
Look, dude, look. None of us are winning this. Let's just go home.
Call a day. And you know what? I respect that.
Respect.
Yeah. Still need to stress that. In this early game being kind of as slow as it is, besides those 2 kills, and TLC, I think, are still in a fine position.
Yeah.
Really, only real deficit that they find themselves in is bot lane. You can see a good 20 CS in favor of Wixie. Wixie and Breezy, they've had this bot lane pushed in pretty much the entire time. You got to imagine this is a point of power that AoE want to continue using to allow Rosethorn to invade, to allow Rosethorn to keep stacking these Drakes. Because even though TLC are in a good spot, if a Dragon Soul comes through, I think AoE will be pretty happy about that.
For the bottom lane, this is basically what you want for Wixie. You want to have a lead and you want to put behind spawn. It would just feel better if you can get a kill on top of it. You punish out this bot lane a little bit more. Still off the back, it's going to be Serrated Dirk along with the pickaxe. I want to see what Spawn's going to get on this recall. Not going to be able to afford too much, just able to get the quiver. So Wixie's still in a position where he can keep punishing Spawn and just try to keep this pressure going for AoE.
We have both supports rotating to that mid lane. And one making space for Keel. Look for another invade, but also the next set of grubs are going to be up soon. I didn't quite catch how many AoE were able to get. I believe Rosethorn had that priority. But there is that incentive for Keel to deny that 5th or 6th stack, just so you avoid that extra damage to turrets and the Void Mites.
Jenkins still hard shoving. All the meanwhile, tension put on the Dragon side. 30 seconds before that does come up. Daisy's already out, so that will time out closer we do get to Drake. See right there, no more ultimate available for TLC. Rosethorn positions forward. We'll get the stun onto Kill, but a little bit of a warning. Don't come around these parts. Dragon spawning, and it belongs to us.
Yeah, that's probably not going to change. I can't imagine that AoE are going to be able to actually or have any trouble. I don't think AoE are going to have any trouble getting this Drake. It's likely going to be that third Drake fight. Yeah, we got there. The TLC are going to be worrying about. Because if you let that soul point come through, then the game becomes a little bit dangerous. You make a mistake at the soul fight, but only a very powerful buff is there for your enemy. Yeah. Right now, Rosethorn, he's just going to be able to get Drake number 2 with the help of his bot lane.
And to expand on that a little more, the longer this game goes, better it's going to be for TLC. You want the second rotation shields and all that. If you give up a fight around something like Dragon right now, that could completely squash that strategy, squash that game plan, and give AoE a big enough platform to really explode into this game. So letting go of that Dragon was the smart play. Get a little bit more scaling on before that third one does come.
Yeah, 100%. But man, bot lane, they're really putting Spawn through the blender here.
Jeez.
Yeah, like this lane, or rather this lead, it continues to grow there for Wixie and Breezy. And that could grow to be a problem for TLC, especially during that third Drake fight, because if you're set behind, then you're not going to reach those item spikes that TLC might be hoping for to be able to allow them to actually get a good fight going. So, I mean, props to Wixie and Breezy for being able to get this kind of pressure on. Yeah, it's a good matchup for them, to their credit. That first series from them earlier on in the split, they did not really look very good.
No.
I'm just going to go and say it. So it's really nice to see that improvement come through, especially for Wixie, a player who I've always thought was honestly a pretty solid player. Played on a lot of different teams. I mean, he played on 100 Thieves Academy, MT Challengers. He was on that legendary AoE Ginger Turmeric run during Proving Grounds that we love to talk about here. So he's definitely got a good bit of history as being a pretty consistent player. So glad to see that he is still that player.
Even when Wixie was dropped from certain teams, it just became the Wixie redemption arc. Wixie looked so good, and like, what do you... Yeah, that was the 100 Thieves redemption arc that we had before. I believe Wixie was on Ginger Turmeric during that, right?
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. So, Wixie definitely has a lot of history behind him of being a capable performer.
Yeah.
Just expectations weren't met in that first game, but now we're starting to see what Wixie really is as he continues just putting a stranglehold onto this bottom lane.
Right now, we're still a few minutes away from the next Drake, but again, Spawn and Kim down. They're forced to recall. Means that Wixie and Breezy, they're going to be able to get this first brick into their pockets. I mean, I'm honestly just going to check now. I'm really curious to see how much of this gold lead is just Wixie. And wow, okay, so it's Jenkins at the top actually, but Wixie is right there with him too.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that he's doing a pretty decent job in this early game so far, and he's still going to be really strong. It isn't until maybe like 2 items that we can expect Spawn to really eclipse him and have some of that serious damage you hope for from an Aphelios.
Also pretty nice from Onat. I know it means more for Wixie to be ahead right now, but Onat not far behind. I think it was just like 100 gold that separated those two, so
yeah,
definitely still feels good for him to have this lead. Basically, the carries of AoE are doing well, so it's a good early start for them. It's only 1k lead. If this stays the same for like another 10 minutes, I still favor Team Liquid, so AoE still have to be proactive.
Yeah, and it really depends on whether or not this third Drake ends up going in their favor. We're still a minute 30 away, and this Rift Herald Secure does mean that you have an option to drop it mid, get yourself that easy prio and pressure to be able to walk yourselves down into the river and get that first touch.
See that ghoul? It might be a Nico. Watch out, Kim.
Ha! Yeah, I'm still blown away by that.
I'm gonna be traumatized by that.
I'm gonna try that actually, more than anything.
Oh, here comes Spawn. He's going after Breezy. Mispositioning, and Spawn will capitalize.
That's a pretty big deal. I mean, no Breezy, no support means that you actually have a hard time setting up the vision that you want to. So now Spawn, he just gets this wave in. Even Jenkins is in the area. So everyone from the side of TLC now have that opportunity to... I mean, they don't have much vision to contest it. They can just go ahead and lay down their own, and they may actually have a chance at this Drake.
Great angle from Spawn.
Yeah.
To actually see that play and commit onto it without losing anything in the process. At a time where TLC definitely desperately need it, Wixie has had a stranglehold onto this bottom lane, so Spawn getting some economy right back over to him will feel pretty good for the bot lane of TLC as they still try and find their way back into this. We were talking about it earlier, Beatdown, 15 seconds before Dragon comes up. Is this the one we see TLC fight around?
Maybe that kill got Spawn, the Stormrazor, and another crit cloak into his inventory. So maybe TLC are liking their chances here. The fact that they're in the area makes me think that this is where they end up full sending it. It's tough though, because Wixie is still really strong. You even have Zamudo teleporting too.
Yeah, he's teleporting right on the flank, trying to get that Q3. Jenkins is there, though, holding the line. Daisy in front. Here comes Rosethorn. Able to pop the ultimate. A good chunk of health taken away from TLC. Still Zamudo right there, fighting it out with Jenkins. Jenkins getting the better of that exchange. Out comes the laser, able to land it onto Jenkins. Zamudo has to back out, taking too much damage, but the Dragon will be secured by AoE. Shockwave lands onto Wixie as well as the root. No damage to follow up. AoE set up for defense.
But still, ultimately, even though the engage from AoE didn't really work out the way they were hoping for, they didn't get a kill, they got the space to get the Dragon. So that they have their soul point, they maintain this small lead that they have for themselves, and now it's really all going to come down to that next Drake in just under 5 minutes' time. Because if they're able to secure that, that could be a strong enough buff to help them close this game out. It's still going to be hard. TLC still scale really, really well. But you have that buff in your pocket and more items for someone like Onat. We saw how big that wombo combo could be. Maybe a little more juice would be the difference to turn no kills into a couple kills.
AoE got to keep up this momentum because what is basically being framed here, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
The longer this goes, we keep saying it, TLC are going to slowly start to come back. Longer this goes, they're going to slowly start to come back. AoE cannot forget that. They have to keep that at the forefront of their minds. And I do think they're doing the right steps at least. Sure, they're not getting as many kills on the map, but they've been very, very active with objectives, as well as getting that first brick on the Wixie over in the bottom lane, the 3 dragons. It's not fast gameplay, but it's proactive. It's the right gameplay for AoE.
Right now they have the Herald to contend with. They're dropping it into this mid lane. We're going to see if someone actually wants to get in it. Go ahead and pilot it. Okay, it is going to be Rosethorn.
Crashing right into the tower. Takes a good chunk out of it. Causes the teleport to be used from Jenkins just to make sure this tower is not going to go down. And it was getting pretty close to following TLC, responding on the map.
They'll let his TP down. So for AoE, who need to be proactive, these next couple of minutes, that could be something that they look to take advantage of. You could make a play to Zamudo, perhaps on the other side of the map, or for Onat. That's what Keel's looking to do.
Onat out of position. Nice sidestep. Will not get rooted up. Could have been a bad spot right there for AoE to lose Onat. But he will survive, and this allows AoE to reposition on the map and grab another tower going over to Wixie. That's the second tower he's been a part of.
Yeah, so this Kalista is still pretty happy. The amount of gold that they've been given with how this early game has gone. So it's tough. That play didn't really work out for TLC, but at least the thing you have going for you is Onat, he is flashless. So he won't have that during the Drake fight. There is the opportunity for someone like Jenkins or Keel to try a play like that again and run him down in the 5v5.
Yeah, taking a look at how the gold's unfolding so far.
Hey, you did it!
Still kind of in the same situation. I mean, Onat and Wixie taking that second and third spot. It's really up to Jenkins, who's been taking a lot of this gold from just lane bullying over on his top side. I mean, Zamudo's not having the best time.
I mean, all things considered, he's keeping up in CS, so it's chill. We got to take a look at the gold graph here, where it's been a little fluctuated, but all that red tells you it's been mostly AoE favored, except for that tiny little blue blip. But we keep talking about this because it keeps being true. It might not be enough. You still have your time on the map where you are pretty strong at the moment, but it's going to come down to this dragon fight. We're a minute 30 away. You can see Zamudo trying to get some damage on that top tier 1 turret, and I'm curious to see if TLC make a play onto him, because they still have time. They still have TPs to use as well, but I think they're just going to be content with third waves.
So we should see the final resets starting to come in from both squads.
Pretty soon.
Dragon does come up in 1 minute. And again, AoE's comp doesn't exactly get better with time. That's on the plate for TLC. So grabbing this Dragon Soul would be great to keep them in this game for a longer amount of time, keep them more present in this game for a longer amount of time. 35 seconds before that does come up.
Yeah, and Roamer, oh wow, he's not even going to recall. He's just going to go ahead and teleport immediately, so it's just going to be this push for mid priority. There is really no vision on that bottom side, so it's just going to be a question of whether AoE try to fight now, or if they want to wait for TLC to walk into them into the river. Already we're seeing the effects of the shielding and healing that TLC have to offer with this Ivern and Milio. So AoE, they know they're running out of time. They're going to have to make a call.
And Orianna too.
Yeah.
Well, you do get that shield from the ball popping on you. Jenkins is going forward. They have Daisy as well. They might be able to take out Daisy before the fight truly begins. It's going to be good for AoE. Jenkins positions forward. Out comes the gravitational field. Onat trying to zone away the plan of attack for TLC. Rosethorn's still there, ever present. Full health bar. 6k health remains on the Dragon. Jenkins will be that frontliner to absorb all that damage, but there's a beautiful shot.
Oh my God!
And the back line takes a big chunk. Going forward is Rosethorn, gets the Magnet Storm. Now looking for the backlines. Jenkins wants to take down the Callista. He'll find just that. Zamudo with the all out, but Jenkins has happened to be in here. He owns this place. Shut down, found by Spawn and TLC. Bounce back.
And there's the turnaround, Eric. Onat trying to do his best to stay alive, but he's just going to be another casualty and what looks like it's going to be the loss of AoE this game. Because AoE, they almost had it, Eric. It was all working out. Rosethorn found the best rel engage we've seen today, but it wasn't enough. Too much damage has been done, and now with this Baron buff that TLC are going to get for themselves, this might just be over.
That was brutal. All that being said, Roamer, that shockwave. Sure, you found the best engage of your life with Rosethorn's Magnet Storm, but that shockwave, you have to give it respect. It's coming off cooldown right now, and it's a threat on AoE.
Even though the Baron didn't end up being secured, he still managed to get a TP out of both Zamudo and Onat. So maybe AoE are going to look to try and just start this one themselves. We talked about it before. Callista, you also have the Rend, Smite from Rosethorn. Maybe they can make it happen.
Watch out for Roamer. That shockwave. You saw what it did last time. Roamer getting into position behind the pit could be bad for AoE. Now back with the group. Jenkins. He's taking so much damage, but he does not care. He's a tanky boy. He can take care of it for himself. Now Spawn shaping up in front of Zamudo. Zamudo can only absorb so much, but taken away. Zamudo's going to go down. Baron Nashor has been secured by AoE. And is that going to be the trade, or is there more fight to come from TLC? Roamer might be looking for it. He does have Shockwave available. Jenkins is leading the charge. But the retreat called by AoE. Baron secured.
Wow, that's a really big win for AoE. The fact that they were able to get that and walk out thanks to the map from that territorial Baron, it gives you that extra pathway to get in and out, and it actually makes it really hard for you to get chased down. Baron buff means they get a nice injection of gold, and now they have this opportunity to knock down more turrets. And if another team fight goes their way, that could be their way back into this one. It's still tough. At this stage in the game, 1.2k, I'm just going to say it, Eric, it isn't enough. So they need to get as much gold they can off of this Baron play, as much value as they can squeeze out of it.
AoE are going for a very early setup onto the bot lane. Leading the wave is going to be Onat. Getting vision and control over here will be crucial within the next couple of minutes as Dragon does spawn. It will be another attempt at Dragon Soul for AoE. Utilizing the Baron, push is going to be successful. They should find themselves another turret.
And it's just a nice bit of extra gold. They actually get a lot of control over this bottom side as a result, too, because it's a little hard for them to step up to these waves. It means AoE will actually have a pretty good shot at picking up this next Drake, even though their Baron buff will be 30 seconds expired. The fact is TLC will have these next few minutes to try and contend with the vision AoE have laid down.
TLC on the defensive. They don't want the turret to fall. Rest of AoE. Now posturing up, Daisy goes forward, might get deleted before a team fight, but we saw the false sense of security that could do. You got to watch for the positioning of that ball from Roamer. You can see it right there on the cannon creep. AoE gonna back off. They can't get the siege.
At least they're able to get the turret and increase their gold lead a little further. But right now, Rosethorn potentially in trouble. Could just W over the wall. Oh!
Oh,
hello.
Jenkins read it. Was able to catch out Rosethorn. Rosethorn is a long way from home, and even if you are tanky, eventually they'll be able to chip away. Jenkins gets the kill.
Really nice catch out and a little greedy of Rosethorn to overstay. Means now it'll be a little harder for AoE to actually try and keep the pressure in that bottom side river. Only thing still going for them, Baron buff, maybe another 20 seconds. Now the TLC have respawned and deployed on the map. You got to imagine they're going to have a pretty easy time pushing mid and then walking down into this river to get control of it.
AoE will get their first foot there, but it's without Rosethorn. And that means you have to just concede the priority right back over to TLC. You can see right there, TLC establishing their vision around this dragon. 25 seconds before it does come up, grabbing that would delay the Dragon Soul once more from AoE and take away those win conditions. This game is getting later and later, so Aphelios, Orianna, they are becoming more and more present in this game. As you can see, TLC break off over towards the river.
Right now, they know that Rosethorn is nearby. Is looking to show up. The big thing for AoE, it is about the Wombo combo. And for TLC, they just need to survive it. That's what's going to decide this team fight.
And look at Jenkins. He's able to absorb so much. Finally takes a big chunk right back. You got to watch out for that shockwave, though. It's going for the backline. Not able to find it. Jenkins is going to fall. Now going forward, it's going to be AoE. They're looking for kill. Kills the next one. Onat grabs that. Dodging away. Not going to be able to land. The ultimate is Spawn, and 2 down for TLC. AoE will get Dragon Soul.
Oh, wow, it's such a big deal here. They get the soul, and they collect even more gold off of a great engage coming through from Rosethorn. AoE, even though we talked about them potentially getting outscaled, they find themselves back into that driver's seat. The goal now is just, can you end the game before the Elder Dragon spawns? We're a couple minutes away from that. So you got to imagine Baron is what we're going to watch next. Still, big deal for AoE. Getting a 2-0 would be so huge.
I want to take a look at the Orianna ball during this fight because I believe Roamer just got barely out of range to pull it back. Let's see. No, it just landed onto Zamudo, so it wasn't the big target you were looking for.
No, and I think for the most part, Jenkins was absorbing a lot of damage, right? But during that time, TLC weren't doing anything. They were just kind of watching it happen. So he was soaking up a lot of that damage for nothing.
Yeah.
And that made it so that by the time they fully went in, Jenkins was dead, they laid down no damage, and Keel was set to follow right after. So there's still a chance for TLC to win things out in these team fights. They just have to play them out better than that.
Yeah. That's the way a lot of these fights have been going, Beat. It's like Zamudo or Jenkins, who's eating damage for nothing?
Yeah.
That's it right there. That's who's going to be taking the fight. That time it was Jenkins. A lot of the other times it's been Zamudo who gets chipped away by Spawn. As you can tell, Spawn is getting towards those late game stages, hasn't quite gotten his third item just yet, almost there. However, Wixie has already found that third item. A lot of farm coming out from Wixie that was really working out for those early stages. Still, though, you have to watch out for the damage that both Spawn and Roamer are going to bring. As you start to group around this Baron pit, it can be a trap for you. It can be a good setup for both the ultimate of the Aphelios and the shockwave of Roamer.
In this part of the map, it's very dark right now. You can see they have to lead with Daisy, but Daisy is going to explode almost instantly. She did her job. She's made space. Now we're just waiting for Spawn, who is in the area. Remember, guys, AoE, they have a really easy chance at securing this with Rel Callista. So TLC, they have to force a fight.
They have to force it, but they're not going for it.
They're just leaving it.
Yeah, look at that. Zamudo will hold the line. Keel doesn't want to go forward. Now AoE are coming in for a flank, but they only have Onat and Breezy on that side. They can't hard to commit to the engage. But that's Dragon Soul. That's Baron. Those are some big buffs for AoE to see this series to its conclusion.
And we saw the last Baron buff, they were able to knock down some turrets. At this point now, it's only the base, besides that top tier 2 turret of TLC, is up and available. After that, you got to imagine they're going to be knocking on those doors. And once that happens, will TLC be able to wave clear their way out of this one? You see the IE has been built for Spawn, so he does a lot of damage. He clears waves very quickly. But can TLC actually set him up to do damage in these team fights? Because these last couple times, they haven't.
TLC have been trying so hard to control the bleeding. For the most part, they kept this around, 500, 1k for quite a while, but this is where the game has just absolutely exploded in the favor of AoE. They needed a strong gold lead to get towards this stage. Here they are now, to begin the siege both in mid and in top.
Yeah, so again, Spawn, he has some pretty good wave clear. A Roamer, getting close to his third item, can contribute quite a bit as well. So it's going to take a lot of work to actually break open one of these tier 3 turrets. And you can see it too. AoE not really syncing their waves correctly. So it's pretty easy for TLC to go back and forth between mid and top. and not actually have to worry about losing a turret. So we're getting pretty close to this Baron buff expiring. Just a minute left, and my eyes are really just on the Elder Dragon, Aaron.
Shockwave.
Oh!
Shockwave goes in. Wixie has to bail. We'll use the Fate's Call. Ooh. It was a very nice Shockwave. And even if you don't get the fight, it alleviates the pressure.
Very true. And you'll get the Shockwave back before the Elder Dragon spawns anyway, and all your ultimates. So that's just what TLC needs to be looking for there. You need to throw that ball onto Daisy, onto Jenkins, in hopes that you're going to be able to get that big combo. TLC down a game in the series. The AoE who only have one series under their belt, and they had lost it. It'd be such a big thing for AoE, who really looked like they were struggling against Mirage Alliance, to be able to take one against Team Liquid Challengers. And they look like they might be able to do it, but oh my god.
Yeah, Spawn's coming online. Took a big chunk out of Breezy, but that is not the carry. You're going to have to start aiming for Wixie and Onat if TLC want to take this. Daisy in the front line. But this is the thing right here. If there's no fight,
She's
no
gone.
Daisy, that's no ultimate. And now Kill going to be without an R button, as AoE still in the mid lane. No one willing to pull the trigger just yet. Onat's getting a lot of good poke. You can see that chunk taking out a Kill and Kim down as they move towards the Elder Beat.
Yeah, and you can see it. Rosethorn and Wixie, they're already on it. They actually are going to be able to take this one relatively quickly.
Wow!
Oh my god!
My word, Samuto goes in. He has Onat to back him up, and look at what the lasers are doing. Jenkins tries to follow. Onat needs to get away. He has his flash available. He'll be able to flash out. Here
That's
comes Samuto.
Elder.
Elder Dragon's going to be secured. And AoE, all the chips in their favor. They're looking for a jackpot.
They did such an amazing job holding off TLC 3v5, and now they can just TP bot. They can just look to end the game. This could be that 2-0 finish that we thought was lost to them earlier on here in Game 2.
God. Oh my goodness. This composition that AoE drafted, man, I wasn't feeling the best about it. But somehow, some way, they keep up the pressure, they keep up the momentum, and now here they are in the base of TLC. It takes a while to scale, and you're not going to be given that time. As AoE, they're knocking right now. They're destroying the place. Furniture on the floor. Doors broken down. A shockwave goes out. A great knockup going to be found. But with Nexus Tower number 2 deconstructed, TLC only have seconds to make a move. And AoE will close that window as fast as they can. AoE 2-0 against TLC.
Dude, what an amazing comeback, too, where it looked like, I mean, for all accounts, TLC, to me, really looked like they had the stronger comp in the late game. But Rosethorn, he was finding some really good ultimates there. These big 4-5-man Magnet Storms. And it got to a point, too, where Zabuto was so tanky that he was able to soak up so much damage and always managed to use all out on the right people. Yeah, it was just well played from AoE all around the board.
Yeah, Zamuto was holding the line, and credit to Onat on top of that. If you saw that last fight, those lasers, there was so much poke before the fight even began. That TLC, they could not hang an AoE 2-0 victory against one of the best teams when it comes to developmental. That's gotta feel great for AoE. Let's hear it from them, though. We're gonna throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll have Onat of the O Nation over on the other side. We'll be right back. Introducing the new Footlong Sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious Footlong Cookie, Footlong Pretzel, or Footlong Churro. Welcome back, everyone, to LCS Challengers. I am joined by the governor, the president of the O Nation. There we go.
There you go.
ONAT of Area of Effect after a 2-0 victory against TLC. How's it feel, man?
It feels great. I mean, we always knew we were a good team, and losing the first series and then having to wait 2 weeks felt horrible. So getting a 2-0 over such a strong team as well. Like, I think their standings don't show it, but these guys are really good. So it feels amazing to beat them.
So talk to me a little bit about the draft, because one of the surprising picks was the Victor, which worked really well in that game number 2. You were poking them out left and right. Give me a talk through on that.
It's just the signature champ of mine, and it's good into Orianna. I mean, why not? It's just like, I know I'll beat this guy in this matchup, so happily take it any day. That's about it.
Fair enough. And you kind of mentioned like it was a prepared pick. Like, how'd you know this would work? Or could you talk to us a little more about that?
Yeah, I mean, we played it in scrims against them, and it went really well. So coming into the game, we were like, hey, I don't want Romer to play this champ or this champ. If we could get him onto Orianna and then I could get the Victor counter pick, like, we're really happy. And we kind of baited them into it, and they fell for it. So just like having previous success on the pick, and then it also being a signature champ of mine, it just made sense.
So in this match, you were going against TLC, who also has Kill. I know you're old teammates with him, so did you guys have any conversations before this match went down?
We actually did not. I know he talks to our coach, Griffin, a lot, so... And he did say in his interview that he wants to beat us really bad, but between me and him, no, there was nothing.
Fair enough. And I mean, you were like super excited when you got into the call with us right now. We can even hear like you're still breathing heavily, like it was very intense. Just talk to us and like the audience. Tell us what this win meant for you, because you, even though it was 2-0 and it was a handed win, you said you respect them a lot. So
really?
You know, just oh my
God damn. Hold on. Okay, I think it's better.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're good. What did the win mean to you and the boys over at AoE is basically the point.
I mean, it means a lot. Like I said, like, they're a strong team and we started off poorly. So, like, coming into the game, being able to recover after a 2-week break. Like, that 2-week break hurt a lot, I'm not going to lie. Sitting on a loss, and in scrims, we're just dominating nonstop. And then we play our first series and we choke. And we're just like, okay, like, this is like a horrible start. And we know how good we are. So being able to show that to everybody and beat such a strong team so convincingly is amazing, I think. It feels really good. Like, how we're doing in scrims and how we feel as a team is actually like shown through the results now. So it definitely solidifies confidence.
It's gotta feel good, man. Do you have any shout outs before we let you go?
I want to shout out my girlfriend, Jess, coach, Griffin, the Griffinology. It hits hard. We learn a lot. And my team. I love my team so much, actually. And Frankie had Zamudo had a crazy series. So shout out to him as well. And yeah, that's about it. Oh wait, no. Shout out to my family back home. I know they're watching. Anne, baba, sizi çok seviyorum abi. Sağ ol izlediğiniz için. Okay. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. I want to wish you the best of luck on the rest of the season, and good luck, man. Good luck. Hopefully we see more good gameplay like this.
Yes, sir, you will. I promise. All right, later.
All right, that's gonna do it for the interview. I always like the calm, cool, collective feel that ONAT always has, man. He I'm gonna say it. He kind of has badass vibes. That's what I'm just gonna say. I was thinking if I could say that word or not, but
I think it's fine. I think we'll let it slide this one time, right?
Yeah.
You get your one. But I agree. He's usually pretty chill. I will say this is the most like intense I've ever seen him, because again, like, he even said he was shaking after that win. It was such a big deal for them to win in a 2-0 fashion so convincingly. And I had never considered with the schedule change that a team that loses has to wait 2 weeks, what that could do to you as players. But it's good to see they managed to get through it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way the schedule works. Sometimes you end up waiting 2 weeks. Sometimes you have 2 matches in a single week, just like TLC did this week. But speaking of that, let's pull up the standings to see how our teams did at the end of today. Still going to be FlyQuest, who are sitting pretty over at that 3-0. Able to move up, at least still matching it up with Maryville University. They did take their first game loss this time, so that's always something to keep in mind.
Yes.
They are a team that can bleed.
Right, and I mean, even though they didn't manage to actually win, we got to give some props to Fear real quick for being able to make that one happen and almost getting the 2-0 as well. We even heard from Chime how, yeah, it was a pretty close series. Gave him a lot of praise for that. And yeah, props to AoE as well. They jump up to 4th place with this victory, and this is definitely a high. You got to imagine they're going to ride for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that is going to do it for the broadcast. It has been definitely a pretty interesting day. We got to see a 3 game between FlyQuest and Fear. And, of course, the very surprising 2-0 AoE sweep. Lots of fun to be had, and that's going to continue tomorrow as well. So we have another day of games to play. But for today is all wrapped up. So for the broadcast desk, my name is Des Rooks. This has been Beatdown Boulevard. We want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on LCS Challengers League.